I can share from this, and which was also on the African Venture bus, the startup bus. Everybody was preparing for this trip, right? So it was really hard to get in. They need to have applications. So we were like 2-3 days into the tour, and they were all pitching their ideas. Everybody gathered, and so we're sharing their ideas, and we heard all, but one was missing. One girl did not pitch, and I know she prepared for 6 months. And so I gathered the whole room, and I was like, "Yeah, we have cool ideas." Everyone was excited. I said, "I love it, guys, and I think it's fantastic what you've done." But hold for one sec. Imagine from there, all the ideas in the room we have are not all. There's one which is still missing. And they said, "No, can't be. We always speaking." One is missing. And they were looking around, and I said, "Noah," and she was 21. I said, "Noah, it's your time." And she came to the middle and she said, "Wolfgang, I hate you. I hate you so much." She went to the middle. She perfectly presented her thing. 5 months later, she wrote me a letter. This was her important breakthrough. She said, "This was the last time someone pulled me on stage." And she loved it. She was thankful for that. It was like, I need to step up for my own ideas. Sometimes we need these people.
Welcome to another episode of the Europreneur. I'm your host, Nir Zavara. As always, I get the chance to interview some of the most interesting, compelling entrepreneurs around Europe. All of them are EO members, the Entrepreneurial organization that we are all part of. And today I have a guest. I think we got the chance to spend a lot of time in different places around the world. And the last one, I think, was last month together as we were both speaking at the same event in Bulgaria. Wolfgang, how are you?
Thank you, Nir. Oh, I'm actually fine. I feel my voice is lower today, but I think it must be of the red wine.
If that is the case, I will drink more with red wine.
I think it was like a speaker improvement. But actually, I'm super fine, and I'm really thrilled that we meet again. And now here in the podcast, I think this is a great continuation of our talks.
Yeah, so we had the chance to walk around the streets of Sofia in Bulgaria, discussing a lot of different stuff, future speaking gigs and stuff like that. I thought we could bring this to this episode. But before we start, I'm going to ask you, like ask any other guest, would you give us a short elevator pitch so the audience knows who you are?
Great, thank you. So my name is Wolfgang von Geramb. I'm born in Italy. My father gave me the Austrian passport, and then we moved to Germany. So I still wonder where do I belong, but I feel as a child of the world. In my professional life I'm building a pilgrim pass. It's called the Second Mountain, and it's a pilgrim pass for entrepreneurs finding out what they want, who they are, and how to climb their next chapter in life. And besides that, I have a wonderful wife. I'm because this is number 25. It's basically we are in the 25th year of our marriage. We have 2 boys, 17 and 22. So yeah, a lot of things going on.
So they're out of the house?
Oh yeah, not yet. Like one is already out. One is studying in the south, and he is studying like IT and design at the same time. So it's a really, really great thing what he's doing. Super proud of him. And and the other one sitting next door and is complaining that his father spends too much time on Zoom, and so and taking his bandwidth.
But let's discuss. Wait a minute, because now I understand you're having as the kids are getting like older, leaving the house. You have more time, but you also sold your company a few years ago.
Yeah, no, this was a major life change actually. Like so, after 13 years building a digital marketing agency, and this was my dream company. I loved it so much until a certain point where I thought I reached what I dreamed of, and then it kept growing, and I couldn't feel it anymore. but I started so I built all the structures into it, and so I made it independent of me until the day I came back from 4 weeks of holidays in France with the family, and my managing director said, "Oh, great, you're back," and I said, "Yes, I'm so honest. Like, let's do something." Yeah, I have a wish. I'm like, "What is the wish you have?" He said, "Why don't you let us work?" What do you mean, let us work? Yeah, just it's all in place. You guys, like, it's great that you're back, but we don't need you, right? It's all good. And this was a moment two feelings came up. Like the feeling of being unnecessary as a creator, as a also as a vision, and on the other hand, I was proud. I built something that was running without me.
That
And
is an
yeah. Hmm.
it's interesting, and I have so many questions just from this short
Yeah.
story. First of
Go
all,
ahead.
you always wanted to do marketing.
I'm a designer for life. I think if I say like this one job it's really it's this turning problems into possibilities. It's this topic of flipping the stone into something else. And I just love this. And designing is really about understanding the other person, and, then taking your skills and crafting it into something new and surprise the other. So I think that's what's designing mostly about. And
So it's a marketing agency who gave you the other side of like creative and content.
yeah, I mean, it started as a design studio. We were a digital design studio doing websites for photographers, architects, and then we kept growing, working for mid-sized companies, and then we kept growing, so an opportunity, and then we were working for like huge corporates and all of that. So, and it really, the projects always got more complex, more budget, and yeah, actually, we really flipped from a design studio to a marketing agency.
You sold in 2016.
Yeah, 2016 I sold, and it was another great adventure. I think selling is a great adventure every entrepreneur should have. Not just for the not the money and all the tech. I think this is also great and the freedom afterwards, but just like seeing how this is the biggest sell you ever do. And you think like there's so many great people supporting you. You have lawyers and all these people that are in place, but actually you need to fight for it yourself. And there's always like troubles, and you think it's almost through, and then the other side is playing another game because I sold the first time. They sold and they bought the hundredth time. It's amazing adventure. I loved it.
It's interesting to me that you started as a design, you shifted, then you do website, and then you shift into marketing, and then more and more things, and you build that company at an interesting time where before social media, as social media was coming in, when was changing so much,
Yeah.
right, into the iPhone era and so many things. How did you always adapt? Were you guys always innovative, or you kind of like found your way?
I'm just so curious. And and I like always to explore the edges. This is for me personally, but also in work. So I mean, some people are still remembering Macromedia Flash, the web pages in the 2000s, which were so playful but unusable. We created photographer websites that were so creative, no one could use them anymore. But we enjoyed it. They were art installation in the web, and yeah, and so there was always a curiosity to break things and try things and see what's behind it. And yeah, like you said, before it was all websites, and then people also said the client said, Websites, we understand website. It's not important. You needed to sell you deliver us something that we can't do. Social media was the next complex thing. They didn't get it, so we started going into social media. Then we started embracing content because it became too complex for them. Then we started strategy. We needed to be always ahead of the client because clients are paying for two things: for convenience or for scarcity. Convenience, if they hate doing it, and then why don't you do it? Like, your time is less valuable than mine, so why don't you do it? Or scarcity, it's too complex. And so I was always aiming for scarcity. But the money you make with convenience.
You mentioned earlier that you wanted to get to the point where you were proud that you built something that works without you. It's interesting that entrepreneurs, in a sense, many of them, in my opinion, they're divided into two. The operational people, they love building and running things, right?
Yeah.
Or going into a thing. And then there's a big part of the people who want to build something, hand it over to someone and go do something else.
Yeah,
right?
totally. And I would say this is most of the entrepreneurs are great in building. And also, like, I mean, they have this, I think there's 3 stages. And if I got you right, there's the building phase. Then there's this maintaining, little kind of like growing. And then there's the scaling. And it needs different people.
I completely agree. I always ran my agency
Who are
to
you?
this
Who
day.
are you of the 3?
I love coming up with the ideas and putting things in place, but I get bored easily.
Yeah.
So on the other hand, I think I've been running my agency for almost 13 years now. So I don't know if we spoke about this, but if everything goes well, and 1st of January, I'm out. I will stay as a consultant to do creative and strategy, the things I really like and I'm good at. And then every hour I give to the company is bringing 110% of my value and my passion. But yeah, I think day to day has never been my strong suit or my interest or scaling. And I meet so many entrepreneurs who are so amazing in the impact. I'm inspired when I meet them. So I think
I love
that's
the growth part of that, but because there is this growth, personal growth, and I would say, call myself, I'm an explorer, and maybe coming back to my roots as, am I Italian? I'm an Austrian. I'm in German. I don't know. It is always about finding out who you are, or I want to find out who I am, and I do this as by traveling a lot of countries. I mean, amazing when I been to the first time to Israel or to Lebanon or South Africa, Morocco. It's always like looking for, who am I? Living 2 years in the US, and there's amazing place in the world, but they always throw a question on you, like, is this me? And but you can always do this with, I mean, you are also like traveling so much. Where's a place where you felt like, is there a place you say like, this is where I belong?
funny enough. I was as someone who travels quite often. I think my travels are usually divided into a whole month, but every 3 days I leave. So I do a lot. So you don't have or you don't spend enough time. Last year I spent the whole month of November in London, which was mind blowing. I could definitely see myself staying there. And I don't know if you know this, but since 2014, I think, up until COVID, I would spend 2 weeks every year around September, it's the Jewish holidays, in Berlin.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That was the place I went to. I think I had a friend there. I stayed with her a few days. I would go there to write. And that became a thing. And I feel very comfortable there. Telling you I want to live, I can live, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's funny, but I think home is where the heart is. So it's a bit interesting to do that. You were mentioning about selling a company or one day realizing that, okay, that's done. I'm ready to move to the next step. And many people think it's a failure, that at a certain point you don't want to do it anymore. By the way, it could be after 2 years or 3 years. How do you perceive that? I think 13 years is a long time, right? That you've had the company.
I really saw it as a success, and it was a personal dream because you created something, and kind of like you finished something, you handed it over. The people kept running it, and so yeah, the cycle was completed. And I think like, it was great to actually like not close it, to hand it over. The handover was important, and it gave me really opportunity to build something new. And I thought this would have been easier. I really thought it would have been easier. Oh my gosh. I thought now you have everything, right? You have like in that, and from that perspective, unlimited time and resources. And it's like, yeah. But I was coming home and my family was kind of like, oh, because the earn out time was faster over than I thought. And I came home 2 years early. And my kids look at me, Dad, what are you doing here? I'm like, yeah, I'm home. Yeah, yeah, no, but really, like, I'm not home. And it's like, yeah, we don't have time for you to play because we got a life. My wife, she's working with horses, my son's school, and all that. Like, and I'm like, damn it, what am I doing with all this time? I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for boredom.
Yeah, it's I can share with you. We just had like I don't know 12 different weekends here in Israel for holidays. So it's the sometimes the weekend is one thing, and then in the middle of the week we have a 2 day holiday. So it's 30 days where we don't work. And I came back after 1 month of traveling into 4 weekends in like 8 days. Okay, and it's the first time in my life where I said, "Yeah, I think I'm done. If we never go back to work, I'm fine." I think I can. I'll have my coffee. I'll meet my friends. I read books. I write a little bit, and I'm fine and I'm happy. What would be your tip or something you think that people should think about it? Young entrepreneurs listening to this, if they're suddenly they're done, they don't want to do it again. They don't want to do what they've been doing for the last few years.
Hmm. So I think the most important thing is about when you sell your company, is it what you sell, what you trade it for? What is the after? What is the curiosity you want to do after? Because when you're out, it's really hard. And actually, I was happy that a friend of mine, when I told him before I was selling, I was about in the process, he said like, oh yeah, I want to sell. And he said, uh-huh, what do you want to do after? And I said, I don't know, I will have time, money, I can figure it out later. And he said, that's the dumbest idea I ever heard. Don't talk to me before you know what you want to do after. I was shocked, I was pissed, I was everything. I said like, what a jerk. I wanted to hear a compliment or have a good discussion about that, but not this. And I'm really thankful for that. I think it was the best advice I got because I started thinking about what I wanted. And I hadn't 100% idea, but there were topics I was curious about. I realized I want to go into organizational design, like restructuring. I love strategy. I love building organizations. And I thought, like, I will go back and study. And I signed up went back to school. And this was after I sold. I knew like I will go back to school. And just this was a good start.
How important is it, in your opinion, when you're at this crossroad that someone gave you what sometimes we refer to in EO as tough love, right? That's the
Mm.
dumbest idea. Can I give you something? This is the dumb. It's like you should do something before, or you haven't thought about it. You haven't thought it out before you make a decision, right?
Mm.
How important is it? Because a lot of people will support you. They'll be positive, but they didn't necessarily tell you what you needed to hear. How important do you think that is?
Especially in the EO context where we would never say this. It is a gestalt where we say, right? It's completely gestalt. And I think I'm happy that a friend said it. I took it from him as a friend, and it was something, it was important to hear. And if it's, I mean, in the end, it's my decision what I do with that. And I know he meant it in a caring way. It was not, and so I think there is this. We have this great friendship, and by that, but he showed me something which came truly from his heart, and yeah, it was completely gestalt when you say. And but sometimes we need to hear this knock, especially really loud when I needed to hear this when I was so on my fantasy movie of like living the dream. I will say my company. I was in this romance of seeing my new life, whatever. But I didn't know what it is. And so it's good to have someone to knocks on your brain door.
Yeah, we have a tendency, right, to romanticize the sale, what will happen, how it will look. Nothing's really happening, but we have this notion of everything's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys don't have that concept of tough love in your EO Hamburg and in your chapter?
No, but I never heard this before. But I think it's great. So it's
Tough
so
love,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So tough love would be if I can come up to you and say, "Hey Wolfgang, can I heard what you said about your business and that you wanting to sell it. Can I give you some tough love?" And
I
if you
love this.
agree, that means you
Good.
will be open
Yeah.
to get my criticism or my opinion, not necessarily, by the way, advice. Right? He told you should have this. He didn't tell you what to do in the sense of you should sell
Mhm.
or not sell. But he told you think about it, right? Have a plan. So I can share with you that many, many years ago at a retreat, another EO member told me, "Can I give you tough love?" By the way, that was the session. So I recommend to all of you listening, you can do it with your friends, with your spouse, with your staff. If it is okay, can I give you some tough love?
I love this.
And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And he said, you're fat. And in a bit of a nicer but very direct way. Or I believe you're a bit overweight, something like. And I looked at him, and again, the idea is that you take the criticism, you don't defend it. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? I think you're right. And I started running and eating, and I lost 10 kilograms.
Tough love.
Yeah.
That's good.
So the agreement in tough love is that you will give me the feedback and
Yeah.
I will absorb it.
Yeah, I love what you say about the agreement. Offering tough love and then if the other person accepts it, I think it is a wonderful concept.
Yeah, there's
Mm.
another way to get criticism in a very polite, straightforward way where we both understand why this is happening, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes setting up the mood is very important, and I know you are now very involved in helping entrepreneurs set that mood, right? Like, where are we going from here?
Yeah.
What made you, after you sold your company, you're figuring it out, what made you focus on the next thing?
I had like a direction. I knew I wanted to like work with entrepreneurs, but I didn't know what to do. And I had this big urge of doing something meaningful, but I had no clue what to do. And then I heard on a TED talk about the Startup Bus Africa. And I said, Startup Bus Africa? This sounds like adventure. It is a 9-day journey. We travel in a bus through a region in Africa, supporting young entrepreneurs on building their startups and pitching in front of investors. And I heard of that and I was like, I'm applying. And it wasn't easy. The guy didn't get back. I really stalked the guy down until I tracked his personal phone number because he was not replying. I said, I need to be on this bus. And he said, and then we had a 20 minutes talk. And he said, I don't know how you found out my number, but I think it was impressive. So maybe you need to be on this bus. And so I went to Morocco. It was there's north, south, east, west bus, and like 4 regions of Africa, and we'd never been to Morocco. And it was me and the guy from another mentor from Egypt, another guy from Morocco, the guy from Berlin, and so we were 4 mentors, all experienced, and they said like, so now you guys have 9 days to take these wonderful people on a journey. And yeah, and by that you traveled. It was amazing. You traveled through the country, and the first thing is what happens, or that happened was all the time. All my assumptions or pictures ahead of Morocco, even was never there. I had so many cliches in my in my head. They were completely wrong. It is the kingdom of optimism. I have never met a country like this, and And it was so because you and the people were so, I mean, everybody was so perfect in English. They were so trained. And this was just middle class students, actually. So it's not like the highest super elite. It was like super engaged, 30 super engaged Moroccan students, about like, I would say 30% women, 70% guy, men, between 20 and 35. And, um, and so they traveled the country
What
and
did you take? Can you give me something you took away from them? You said, I'm going to adopt that.
mm, what I adopt is that one thing on the travel, I met a guy. It was in a village that basically he was a barber, and he has the barber. They have nothing, and he came to the bus and was like, "Can I show you my house?" And it was a lunch break, and the group was going for lunch, and I said, "Oh, I'm curious." So we went up a hill. I thought like, oh my gosh, will he kill me? I don't know. Everything came up. I was like, is this the dumbest thing I'm doing in my life? So he said like, we went up this mountain. It was no one. And then he opened a door, like gently opened his door to his house. And the house was completely empty. There was one piece of furniture. It was a little side table. This is where the family eat. There was some straw where he with his kids were sleeping. But he was sharing this with such pride. He was showing me every room. He was showing me his 3 chickens, and this was, I don't know. It was so, it really touched me, and
Yeah.
then it's like that, and then yeah,
Are you still involved with these things? Because it sounds amazing.
yeah. I mean, involved with the people, yeah, because on this trip I fell in love with one startup, and this changed my life, my future life, and it was Samia. She was by then 22, and um she was like, she was a really smart student, and she was a runner, and she was training for marathon in Rabat, the main city. And while she was training, a guy grabbed her from the back and tried to um, attack her. She could get out of the situation. She kicked that guy so hard between the legs, which sounds like a great idea, but it creates so much adrenaline that she was running away, but the guy followed her. And she just wished, is there someone around the corner? But there wasn't. And around the next corner, there wasn't one. And the guy kept following. And even like after a while, people came, she kept running, running, running. Thank God she was training for marathon. And she entered home, and she was opened the gate and slashed it. And the guy was standing there on the gate and like, "Ugh!" And she like, but then she started crying because she was safe. She went to her parents and told her parents the father was running down, but then the guy was gone. And then the father came back, said good Samia, that nothing really happened. But you know what? This was the last day I let you run alone. And this was the moment fear turned into anger. She's a 20-year-old girl. She wants to live free. From that day on, training meant running on the beach in Morocco while her mother was going next to it with the car. She needed to be always live on WhatsApp. She hated her life. And so this was the problem she wanted to solve. And so she came up with a one button alarm, like you click and safety comes. And I fell in love with this project and with this team, and I was working so hard with them every night, and they won the competition.
Very nice.
And then the interesting part really started. She was an amazing pitcher. She was so brilliant on stage. She pitched in Morocco, in Egypt, in every startup conference in Africa. She went to Europe to pitch. And you know what? No one gave her money. No one. And she was so brilliant in it. Really, like I never seen someone pitching like her. And then after 1 year, all the other team members left, and so she was alone. And I said, I always mentored her, and I said, Samia, I don't know what I will do with my life, because I'm looking here on all these ideas since I've sold my company. But you know what? The only thing I would regret in my life if this project will not see the light of day. I will have an offer for you. I would like to become your co-founder and go fully in. I only have one request. You need to move to Germany because I will not move to Morocco from here with my family. We take it from here. And within 5 weeks, I found a tech IoT co-founder, a tech guy. We found investors, and in 5 weeks, we had everything in place. And it was interesting. Most of them were also 22, quite challenging. But so I thought this is also was kind of unfair. And I was like, is it because she's Moroccan? Is it because she's a girl? I don't know. And but we took it from there. And today the company is we didn't pull it off in Germany or Morocco. We moved to South Africa, and this is where the country still is. And this was an amazing adventure.
Very interesting. How do you find working with young people?
Oh, that's the 20 with all of them 22. Oh my gosh. This was the biggest lesson. We had I was fighting with the CFO. He was also 22 about what do we put in the contract? Do we work like in Germany? It's about 40 hours per week. The contracts are always time based, and they say, well, no, we don't want to work. Huh?
In Germany, they're always time based.
Yeah, always time based. If we work, we work full time, half time, so it's always like this.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to have time in the contract. They wanted to have value. And I said, I don't know. I've never seen a value-based contract. If you come up next week, we go to the notary. You have 1 week time. We ended up doing time, but they really hated it. They said, we don't want to work time-based. We want to work rhythm-based. And I said, what do you mean? We meet every Monday, 2 p.m., same time, same place. And because the team was also internationally, and was like not some in the same city, some somewhere else. So let's meet every Monday, and then we plan what we do for the next week. And I said, but we must control what we do and I said, okay, we will do the ways, and I will just see it. We made so much progress. Since then, our only base built all companies rhythm based. It's incredible. We got so much done. And
I like it, by the way. I like that concept. We discuss a lot about values into the brands. I have a question about that. Moving forward, for you, your services change. Now you're not doing marketing. You're working with young people. You're finding new startups. You're working with new CEOs, with veteran CEOs. What is your service today? What are you providing them?
Today, the service what I'm doing is called the Second Mountain, and actually, I mainly work with female entrepreneurs who are on their journey, who build their next business, and it's always a heart-centered business. It's more purpose-driven, and there's a topic of really seeing. And this is what I observe with working with female founders. It's really different than male founders. It's this balance of life, impact, and success. Because most of them, they're also mothers, and they work so hard. Burnout is a topic. It's a toll topic. And the other thing, there's none of their own time. And it really is about supporting them that they re-own their time again without feeling guilty.
The second mountain could be the next business. It could be the exit. It could be family.
Yeah, it could be like whatever is yours. And what I love about this, because to me, the first mountain is like the first stage of life is about doing what you think you should achieve. What you picked out, like I will be a good boy when I do this. That's what my parents told me, my teachers told me, society told me, and I ticked all these boxes, and it was great. And I left this area with selling my agency, and I wanted to find out what is my second mountain, and it's about finding what is my future, what is my true self, and what do I want to build. And it's really interesting when you shape your own path, when you have the opportunities for that. And getting rid of these beliefs, it
Mm.
gets scary because you're losing kind of sidetracks. Because you're shaping your own. You can define every path. And I saw this today. Like I saw something really like there's Red Bull Rampage. It's the world most known mountain biking challenge, and it's in Utah. And so amazing mountain bikers go into this area, and everybody builds their own track. They have 10 days, they get a shovel and a couple of people. And so you're looking, what will be your next track? You will put in the challenge in you want to do. And so it is, and I think that's to me true entrepreneurship, is we are building our own challenges. No one else is building. And now that we built something, we are shaping something new. And so we are shaping our second mountain. What will it be? What challenges are we looking for? What kind of meaning is it to them? Will it be compelling for us? Will it be compelling for others? And I love this. When I saw these guys doing this, and they were so scared of riding their own track. I thought like the interviews were amazing. I thought like they're all like super confident because it's like the top 20 bikers in the world. They were all so happy that they survived it.
But you provide consulting and workshops and speaking and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it's in the core. It's about creating like a guiding program, guiding them through this journey. So it's a mix of coaching and consulting, and depending if they want to find something new, when they have kind of like a glimpse of where they want to go, it's really about sharpening the vision and being really clear about what is it that drives you. And I always say there is three important things to find your new path, to find a worthy goal. And it's finding something that is exciting for you personally. It should really be super exciting for yourself. You love it, and you can spend all the time in it. Like me going into the mountains, it's like I love it. When I can spend time in the mountains, like excite me, or designing, and I love that. I love coaching. I love these things. That's great. Second thing, it should be important, relevant for others, meaningful, and this can be a really small audience of people where you create relevancy, or a big audience, because it's not always about impact needs to change the world. It needs to have an impact on someone. It can be also just on your team or your neighborhood community. But it should have meaning to others. And the last thing, it should be daunting. It should be scary, because otherwise we are entrepreneurs. We get bored so easily. And there's a book. It's called How to Begin, and he really he has this complicated name, Michael Bungay Stanley. Yeah, it's this book, and I love this concept, and I really like this triggered me, and I really find how daunting is this to you. And if it's a 7, the highest number, that's good. But if it's a 3, you get bored too easily.
Interesting. Would you consider scaling this at some point? Will this become like a big workshop that 1,000 people can attend, or is this kind of like your own thing, meeting them?
My dream is, I'm really inspired by Walt Disney with his Disney World, where he took his dream into a theme park. And I love I really want to create a pilgrim pass, a physical pilgrim pass, like the way to Santa Compostela in North Spain. But it's a personal transformation path which has guidance to it. And so I'm really looking forward to move to the mountains, to the Alps. And
Yeah, I was just about to say you should need a cold place. Yeah.
yeah, it needs a real place. So, and this is where I want to build the prototype, the first pass where people really, because what I learned, we all know all this stuff, but shifting wisdom into action, that's the hard stuff. All of my clients, they've done so much personal work. I mean, like the people in EO, so much personal work. I mean, that we join EO to basically do personal work. We're so stuffed with wisdom, and then no one like it's so rare the people who do it, and it's these growth doubts. And this path is about taking these with them into action and overcoming growth downs and really expanding their leadership, self leadership, and external leadership um, capacities. So they really do this, and for that, the body is a great physical transponder for action.
And you enjoyed the speaking gigs as well.
Yeah, I love
think
that.
when we were there in Bulgaria, you seemed very happy.
Yeah, because it's about sharing this and inspiring others, but inspiration is wisdom. I would say it's more inviting others to take the action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. I completely agree. You know, it's I think fixing the way we interact or bring our ideas forward is very important, whether it's written in a course, workshop, speaking gigs, traveling around the world and telling people, inspiring people. Everyone has their own way of methodology. I think it's always interesting. I'm very keen in connecting ideas into books, workshops, speaking, but also trying to connect tech or a SaaS platform. And the reason, for me at least, this will be a big part of my journey because, yeah, we all know, as you said, we all know what needs to get done, but we don't do it. Even though we went to the course, went to the class, we went to the retreat for 5 days on the other side of the planet, we paid $20,000, but we're not implementing. I am very intrigued to see if we can connect these ideas. And
I think because it needs to be hybrid. And there's one story I can share from this, which was also on the African Venture bus, the startup bus. Everybody was preparing for this trip, right? So it was really hard to get in. They need to have applications. So we were like 2-3 days into the tour, and they were all pitching their ideas. And everybody gathered, and so we're sharing their ideas. And we heard all, but one was missing. One girl did not pitch. And I know she prepared for 6 months. And so I gathered the whole room, and everyone was like, yeah, we have cool ideas. Everyone was excited. I said, I love it, guys. And I think it's fantastic what you've done. But hold for 1 sec. Imagine from there, all the ideas in the room we have are not all. There's one which is still missing. And they said, no, can't be. We always speaking. One is missing. And they were looking around, and I said, Noah, and she was 21. I said, Noah, it's your time. And she came to the middle and she said, Wolfgang, I hate you. I hate you so much. She went to the middle. She perfectly presented her thing. And 5 months later, she wrote me a letter. This was her important breakthrough. She said, this was the last time someone pulled me on stage. And she loved it. She was thankful for that. It was like, I need to step up for my own ideas. Sometimes we need these people.
I make my students present in class. You cannot qualify. You can't finish the class or the course if you haven't presented at least once or twice throughout a semester. Here is 13 or 14 classes, depending on college, university. And you need to present at least once or twice. And I believe the soft skill of storytelling, and you and I have spoken about this in great lengths over the last year or two, is important. This is how everything else will be structured around the soft skill of storytelling. And this is what we do on the podcast and our clients, businesses, our family, friends, anywhere we go, we sit and we tell stories. And I think that is very important. I want to say a huge thank you. And the only reason why we won't continue for another hour is because I have a hard stop with another recording. And I want to say thank you for being here and for your time. And do you have any last words to leave young entrepreneurs that might be listening or watching this episode?
Always go the uncomfortable path. Because in the uncomfortable path is the true growth and the biggest adventure and excitement.
I love it. I will remember that. Even though I usually take the uncomfortable path, I will remember that as well. Thank you very much for being here, Wolfgang. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening to Europreneur. I'm your host, Neil Zavallo. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to us. Follow us on YouTube. We're scaling like crazy over there. You can find us on Spotify and almost any other social media that you can imagine. Want something? Call us, write to us. Let's meet, let's talk, let's engage, and see you somewhere around the world very soon. Thank you for being here. See you next time.
Thank you, Nia.